This city was just named the #1 destination for food in the world. Woo. I thought we'd get a honk.
You want a honk?
There we
I got
go.
you one of them.
So a new study just conducted by the UK-based travel agency Travelbag, highly respectable, used data from social media, OpenTable, and Get Your Guide to rank international destinations for foodies. At the bottom of the world, Melbourne, Australia was named the top food city, largely thanks to its 100 different cuisines at more than 3,500 restaurants. Wild.
Ooh.
Whether you're looking for authentic Ethiopian food in Thornbury or a Japanese market in Collingwood, you can be transported to different continents by green trams and colourful menus. This is a city where fresh sushi is served as street food, brunch is a lifestyle, and coffee is practically a religion. And each meal is an adventure. So, you might not know Kantaro Okada by name, but if you spent time in Melbourne's cafe scene, you've probably experienced his influence from cult favourite spots like 279 and Bajo to design-forward ventures like Sneak Peek. Kantaro is quietly building a hospitality empire, one beautifully considered detail at a time. But this story didn't start in Melbourne. It began in Auckland with a childhood steeped in Japanese food culture and a short trip that turned into a career. In this episode, we sit down with Kantaro to explore his journey from designing cafes in Tokyo's Ginza to redefining what hospitality looks like in Australia, and his latest project, the 2025 Coffee Weekend in Melbourne. And how the hell did he manage to get 27 of Japan's best roasters to come to Melbourne for one event for you to go to? It's about food and coffee, yes, but it's also about identity, creativity, and what it means to build spaces that people remember. Welcome, Kantaro Okada.
Thank you.
First of all, wow. We're about to delve into a really illustrious career that's just happening really in front of our eyes. What's your coffee order?
I drink a oat latte or a filter.
Oh, nice. Any particular roasters you like?
Yeah, too many. But my usual brew is Ichihaze, which is one of our roasters that we run.
Yeah, nice. Good job. All right, let's get stuck into it. Let's start at the very start. So before we get into the coffee weekender, you're arriving at Melbourne, you're 22 years old, and you come here from Auckland. What happened?
I was a barista back in Auckland, and I wanted to learn more. And the closest place where I could do that was Melbourne.
Yeah, nice. Where'd you get your first job?
Oh, it's not there anymore, but it was a cafe called Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge?
Yeah.
Amazing,
No,
amazing.
Where was it?
It's like a sandwich shop with coffee. It was on Spencer Street.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. That makes sense. Nice.
What a name. What a name.
Yeah.
Any other spots that you worked at that you could drop?
Lucky Penny on Chapel Street.
Yep.
Using 5 senses was one of my first specialty
Was that
coffee.
Jason Chan's, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Love that guy. His brother Aaron Chan has King's Domain Barbershop, which is one of the barbers that we supply coffee to from Golden Brown. Small world. And then along your journey, you met a mentor in coffee. Who was that?
I looked up to Toshi from Market Lane.
Yeah, amazing. What a mentor. And how did he help you along your journey?
Oh, he helped me a lot with running events, teaching me about coffee and the cafe culture in general in Melbourne.
Yeah, no. So how long did you live here for that first stint?
I was just here for a year.
Just here for a year,
Yep.
and you've got the appetite, and you're like, all right, cool, we're going here. All right. So then after that, you end up in Japan.
Yes.
Is that right? So you work for a guy in Japan, Tomohiro, for about 4 months, and he runs Latte Graphics right now. Is that right? What were you doing with him over there?
So I helped him open the first latte graphic in Japan, which was about 12 years ago. I was in Melbourne doing barista work and met him here in Melbourne. And he invited me back to open his first cafe.
Yeah. And then what were you doing with that? Were you helping with the systems, the coffee side of things, or just the overall cafe itself?
Yes, so mainly the coffee side. So training the baristas, creating the the coffee menu. And Latte Graphic is now Oceania, Melbourne, like very Melbourne-inspired cafe. And that probably comes from my influence.
Of course it does. And as we go down this podcast, you're going to learn a lot more about Kantaro's influence across Australia. When you first opened, I know that you're saying it's 12 years ago. What was the menu like at the start there?
So a lot of espresso-based drinks. So bringing over the flat white, more of the name, but also making sure that the coffee is presented with latte art every time.
And then, was there an appetite for that style of coffee back then?
Yes,
Yeah?
very much so.
And did it inform a lot of where Latte Graphics has gone now? Yeah.
A lot of Japanese, old school, say like kisaten style cafes are really filter based.
Yep.
So introducing espresso was very interesting at the time.
And then also adding milk to it.
Yep.
Speaking of the latte art, was there, like, looking at the standard of latte art now, where people are, free pouring unicorns and doing things like that? What was the standard that you would make sure would go out? Like, are we talking tulips? Are we talking rosettas?
Yeah, tulip and rosettas. Yeah, you get a standing ovation from rosettas and tulips.
Amazing. I love that. Would you ever get like etching?
Yes, there was etching. I wasn't into it, so
Yeah, fair enough.
Liam's an etch boy.
They literally call me etch boy. So yeah. No.
Hey, we actually we had Ziv on last time, and him and I actually did a latte art smackdown afterwards. So maybe we're on here.
Oh, no.
It's rusty and the hands are clunky. That's for sure. Oh, that's no good. All right, so you're in Japan and you get this amazing opportunity to work over there, help set up some restaurants, and then let me get this straight. You then end up setting up Matoa?
Yes.
For Mitsubishi. What's that about? That is just insane. It's an unbelievable part of town. It's in Ginza, which is, upmarket shopping, dining, entertainment, and you win a contest to open a cafe. How much of your experiences through working in Australia and then setting up Latte Graphics did you put into that?
I gave it everything. I didn't do it to plan to win, but it was like an amazing experience. So I just, worked on it for a few months, putting every idea that I had onto paper and to the pitch. And yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you actually booked your flight home because you didn't think you were going to win.
Yes. I was going to go back.
So humble. So how many rounds was that before you eventually got to the top and then they started executing your design?
I did 2 pitches, to 2 different groups. So 2 rounds. And then the final one was a Q&A.
Yep. And who did you partner with on the chef for that?
So Naoya Numata, we actually worked at Latte Graphic together.
Yeah. Oh, there's the origin story. That makes sense.
And then he went to All Press to set that up in Tokyo. And so we parted ways and then we came back together opening Mito.
Yeah. So how much of that Australian influence carried through in terms of both menu items, design, and just that look and feel of it?
So Metoa essentially is a fully Melbourne-inspired cafe. So we've got smashed avos and flat whites and yeah.
And is it hard to source avos in Japan?
It's not hard, but it's very expensive.
Oh, I could only imagine. But they'd be amazing avos, yeah? Or are they Japanese avos?
No.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I was like,
How much does like a smashed avo go in, like if you were to kind of convert it?
It's about $18, $19. But
so cheaper than here.
So it's cheaper than Melbourne.
But it's expensive in Japan.
Yeah,
right,
true.
of course.
But okay in Ginza.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And then have you been back since?
Yes.
Yeah, and every time you go back to the cafe, you're like, that's not how I had it? Oh.
No, I'm surprised it stays the same. I don't know why. Maybe it's Mitsubishi monitoring it. It's clean and yeah.
I can imagine working for or with Mitsubishi, you would have just like an endless budget. Is that something that was reflected in the design process?
Yeah, it kind of broke me as a business person because they'll like spend all you want. Like we'll buy you anything.
Oh, far out. And did you take any of those liberties, like a gold-plated toilet or anything like that?
Not a gold-plated toilet, but I had like there were particular sizes that I wanted, say like a fridge, and then wouldn't be available off the shelf, so they'd just build one.
They just go to the manufacturing plant and go, stop the cars for a sec, we need a fridge. No, Mitsubishi does everything.
Yes.
I think that's very reductive to say they just do that. They do absolutely everything. And they've got all these amazing rice cookers that you work with,
Yes.
and that are well stocked and well advertised throughout the business as well. Yeah, that's awesome. So you've done that and you're like, well, cool, I'm pretty much just clocked cafe design world. I've done what I can. You come back to Melbourne in 2017 and you start your own hospitality business. You start at 279. What were the challenges like going from that endless budget to coming back to Melbourne and doing it yourself? And also Melbourne kind of is a bit of a saturated scene as well at the time.
Yep.
You've managed to find a different aspect or a different avenue to go down to introduce something new. What was that like?
Yeah, so I always had the intention to introduce Japan to Melbourne because I did doing the opposite. Introducing Australian brunch culture in Japan was really satisfying. So yeah, I had the intention in the first place.
Yeah, amazing. That's what a unique experience. Like I don't think many other people have got that. Like, do you know anyone that's had that before, Liam? I don't think so.
No, I think that's such an authentic, like, especially not, it's like you said, the first thing you did was take Australia there. And so for it to come back and I from what it feels, I feel like you have changed Melbourne because it's very, very felt. You know, I think the more we dive in, maybe there's more to thank you for here in Melbourne.
So you're quoted as saying that you spent a year finding the perfect rice and tried 10 different rice cookers before you opened 279. Is that true?
Yes.
That's insane. How long did you test each rice cooker for? Like you're just constantly cooking it or you just knew straight away?
Actually, it's partly true. We were at number 7 when we opened. Yep. And then we were like 90% happy with it. And then we found 3 more to test whilst running the shop. In the first, like the reason why we had to go through so many rice cookers was I was gifted a Mitsubishi rice cooker when I left Japan. And it was the best. It's like this really small, it's called Honsumigama, but it only cooks like portions for like maybe 10 onigiris. It wasn't,
Not for a business.
Not for a business. But I remembered the flavor of that rice so well that no other commercial like sizes were like up to that level. So I went into this rabbit hole of finding the best rice cooker.
I think that's such a similar path whenever you go from small batch things to bigger commercial batch things.
Exactly.
No matter what it is, from condiments to jams to like, you know what I mean? You start small and you perfect this beautiful recipe, but the recipe doesn't translate on a mass size. What was the flavor? Like what do you define, if you were to break down, like similar to a coffee, like tasting notes and textural notes, what would you kind of describe the rice as?
It's definitely texture. So it can't be crumbly, but it still needs to be soft. Mm-hmm. So it's like intact, but maybe the word mochi is the best. So it's like dense and
It'll give the stickiness and give,
That's right.
So just to give everybody a greater scope of what we're talking about here, you've got, what's the rice you're cooking? Is it like a short grain Japanese rice or?
Short grain, yes, short grain rice from Aomori in the north.
Yep. Yeah, nice. And then are you filtering the water that goes into it? Because that's probably a big part of the ingredients as well. Yep.
We use filtered water. We also use part soda water.
Really?
Soda water.
The hot tip. What does soda water do to rice in a rice cooker?
I don't know. It just makes it good.
Oh my God.
I don't know the science about. Yeah.
Well, okay. Can you please help us, listeners at home? What's your recipe then?
So if I were to go all out, I'd put a block of binchotan charcoal in the middle.
well?
Yes.
In the rice cooker.
The rice cooker.
Wow.
The negative of that, the rice around the binchotan becomes a bit yellow, but the flavor is amazing.
So it kind of imparts like a toasted element to it, or is it more an impurity thing? Because I know like charcoal through water, it attracts and like purifies the water, right?
I think it's that. It doesn't add flavor to it. It actually, I think it takes the impurities out.
Gosh. Where do you source like good charcoal? I feel like obviously there's charcoal that you chuck in a barbecue and you're like, I'm going to cook with it. But like, is there like food grade things?
Binchotan's very specialized. It's for robatas and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right.
It's the Japanese charcoal of choice. Yeah. Where would you source it from?
Chef's Armory.
Yep. Chef's Armory.
Yeah. And Hinoki sometimes have.
Yeah. That's very much a sometimes thing.
Yes.
It's a very popular shop.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's just track back. So your perfect rice recipe is 2 cups rice, 1 cup filtered water, 1 cup soda water. I don't know. Could you tell me what it is?
Yeah. So, just 2 cups rice, 2 cups water, and then binchotan in the middle.
Yep.
That's for me.
Wow. That's insane. And then, so what is the number one rice cooker?
So it's not number one yet. I'm still looking for the next one.
Still looking.
Yeah.
Always
So
on the hunt.
The endless pursuit. I love this. All right. What's your current stable, right?
it's a gas rinnai.
Okay.
Big gas rinnai.
It makes sense. You're so busy. All right, cool. I'm in shock.
I love
the
this.
soda water and then the binchotan as well. Okay, so on your musubi menu or musubi plus menu, you've got Australian favorites like eggs and bacon, smashed avocado, and they're transformed into onigiri dishes. There's confusion and fusion. You've obviously managed to land in the fusion side of things. How did that happen? Or was that just part of the process of you swapping cultures from going Australia to Japan, Japan to Australia, and you're just like, you know what? I've got the spot. I've got the spot.
It's like, so I feel like the confusion happens when it feels like a gimmick.
Yep.
But we actually, like in Japan, for breakfast, we eat bacon, egg, and rice together, and it's very normal. The rice will be in a bowl, not in an onigiri form, but it's normal to have a bacon, rice, miso soup, and egg menu.
Yeah. And was that ever influenced by the Americans?
Yes,
That is, isn't it?
definitely.
It's a big part of that, yeah.
So I kind of took that and made it into a rice bowl, but it's not super original.
No, but it's just it's
proven.
delicious. Yeah, but it's delicious. So it's not
Done
an issue.
right. It's done
But
right.
it's done right.
Mm.
Okay, so you're also very particular about your miso, and you brew fresh every single time, and you're brewing it similar to a coffee brew. You're doing it like a pour over situation. Can you walk us through that?
Wait a second. You brew it fresh every time? Because I feel like most of us kind of think miso soup is like the longer it's like a stew almost, like a broth that you have on, like, you know, ramen takes like hours and hours to cook beautifully, and like, you know, miso soup in my head, whenever I go to like any place, there's like kind of a vat that's been heated on the side and they like kind of ladle you a serve.
Yes.
How do you brew it like on the spot?
I think with soups in general, when it's protein heavy, it's good to cook over a long time. But when the main product is the soup part, it does get sour like over a few hours. And so I was figuring out a way if we could make miso to order. And I was in coffee, so the first thing that clicked was maybe we could use a pour over method. And then the next thing that clicked was maybe if the water wasn't water, but it was dashi. So in our fellow kettles, we put in our dashi, so bonito and kelp.
Dashi is the type of, is it a type of stock?
Yeah, it's a stock, yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
And so we use that stock to pour over the miso, which is in the Kinto filter, over a bowl, essentially. And then the other benefit of this is we have another kettle that only has kelp in it, kelp water. So we use that to brew vegan miso soup.
Genius.
No one misses out.
You know what I'm doing later tonight? I'm getting the binchotan out and then I'm brewing a miso.
Sign me up.
All right. Well, that's covering a bit of your cafe, 279. But you've also got Sneak Peek. It's spelled SNKPK. which is a creative design agency in North Melbourne with more of a pop-up space as well attached to it. Tell us a bit more about that, because it's, you've obviously done it in two different places. You've got a proven method and an approach that works. You've now got how many venues?
7.
7 venues. So you're definitely doing something right. Could you tell us more about the design agency and your approach to that?
Yes. So I don't intend to do like a dozen cafes or restaurants in Melbourne. I like Melbourne. The reason why I like Melbourne is because there's so many local single stores. But it would be a waste if we couldn't use our skills to teach other people. So, which is why we started Sneak Peek, to help the hospitality industry with design and more so experience design. So we're a design agency focused in F&B. And in terms of the pop-up space, I really believe that pop-ups are the best way to start up a food business.
So in terms of it's a good way to means test things. It's a good way to iron out kinks. Like, what are your main reasons why you think pop-ups are the best way to go?
Yes, exactly. So ironing out kinks, you get to test your recipe. You get real feedback from the public.
Yep.
And it's the cheapest way to start.
Yeah. So would you even recommend to someone who's starting up, maybe even doing a pop-up in a location that they think might be a viable location as well?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can test different things, not just your offering. You can also test like, what is the validity in this space or this part of the city?
I'd knock onto empty lease spaces and then try to hire it for 2 or 3 months, because usually they would respond pretty well.
And how many pop-ups have you done?
A dozen.
A dozen?
Yeah. So 2 of them became a real store.
That's awesome. So that's a pretty good strike rate. You learn pretty quickly. It expedites things, but you also don't go too far down the rabbit hole where you're like, well, now I've just forked out a lot of cash for something I didn't even test when I probably could have. Oh, that's so good.
For first-time business owners, they also understand if they actually want to pursue it forever or not.
Yeah.
They can try for 3 months, and if it's too hard, they can call it quits.
Yeah, especially anybody transitioning into hospitality who's never done it before. It's a different workload, that's for sure.
How do you choose like the checklist for, because obviously you want to trial everything, right? You want to kind of have the most fleshed out version of your business going forward. But at the same time, because it's a pop-up, you kind of have to pick and choose what you're actually able to provide, right? Like you can't give everything.
Yep.
How do you choose those things? Like, do you only put forward the things that you know are like the quarterbacks of the menu, the like kind of the winners, or is it more of a time to trial those things that you know that you actually aren't sure about?
Yeah, so you can't have a big menu at a pop-up. So you would have one thing that you want to test, and then the other one would be your essentially the killer item, which is the crowd pleaser. I believe a lot of cafes and restaurants have one main product that they sell. Everyone goes to this restaurant for their dumplings or for their fried rice.
Reason to go.
Yeah, so it's usually one item that actually holds the business up. That's the one to test.
Yeah, the hero dish, the 18 folds. What design elements are unique to you at Sneak Peek? Like, is something, if I was to come to you, what would set you apart from other designers?
It's very customer focused. So it's more about the experience, how customers would feel and interact. Say if it's the menu or the design of the bar counter. So we have that back of house hospitality mind that we bring into the design.
Yeah, nice. It's like when you look at a trend that sweeps through Australia at any given time, all of a sudden everyone's got terrazzo, everyone's got like highly figured marble.
Yes.
So you're not succumb to any of that, luckily. You're looking purely for experience. You're not looking for trying to get into that next spreadsheet or not the next magazine spread where it's like, look at this beautiful new restaurant designed by XYZ. It's just like, oh my God. It looks like the same other restaurant that got designed 2 weeks ago and the one before that. So you're obviously no rookie at all when it comes to events. You did the onigiri map. Tell us more about that.
Yes, the onigiri map, it was good and bad. The bad part was it sold out so quickly. That was popular. The good part is we got to introduce onigiri to Melbourne in an interesting way. We call this marketing tool in Japan a stamp rally, where you go to different venues to collect the stamp, and at the end you claim a gift.
Yeah, it's such a good way to do it, isn't it? I did one around the Collingwood area for a Japanese situation as well. You got the signature dish from each one of the Japanese restaurants. It was great.
That's such
kids loved it. Yeah,
such a playful take. It's also like such a keepsake.
Yes,
It's like you leave with like a stamp that you were present, and got to experience that. It's cute. I love that.
Would you do it for coffee? A stamp rally?
Yeah, definitely. It'll be fun. Like, a lot of marketing is very digital, but then when you have that very human physical aspect,
It's funny how you just all of a sudden, as soon as you get into the mode as well, like your brain just clicks into a different gear and you've got this thing, you're like, I need to get them all.
For sure.
You just cross the white line. You're like, yeah.
Can't get one stamp.
And just touching back on the onigiri, is it the next sandwich?
Hoping it to be.
Yeah, it's definitely. And then what are you, a sandwich or a non-onigiri guy? Which one's first?
Definitely onigiri.
Yeah, same. Depends on the day. I'm still yet to be decided.
I reckon I'd be onigiri. I struggle with like actually making them though. Like we went through a phase of like trying to make them in the morning, but it's probably rice choice and just technique things. I remember trying to make them and just falling apart. So I should either get some lessons or trust the professionals in the game.
I'm hearing Liam's taking up an stage at 279 while he's at it. What's next?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. What a dream.
So we're just going to quickly hop on a time machine and go back to Auckland in the 90s. No stranger to the hospitality industry at all. Your parents founded their first venture, Cafe Rika, and it introduced many Kiwis to Japanese food for the first time. So it seems like there's a bit of a pattern going on here, and we're starting to notice that. Did you spend a lot of time in the kitchen as a child growing up?
Every day. I was in the staff room. I grew up in the staff room.
You grew up?
Staff room, literally.
So you must have eaten really well growing up.
Yeah, probably. Yes. Come to think of it. Yes.
So what were your parents like? What sort of dishes were they introducing the Kiwis to?
Very traditional sushi. So my father was a sushi chef in Ginza. And full circle.
Yeah, it's 100% full circle.
He was very proud with the Ginza shop. Anyway, so he was a traditional sushi chef. Brought that to Auckland.
Yeah, and it's amazing food in New Zealand, like unbelievably pure, and you can see why that sort of that style of food would be so well represented. Was there ever any pressure, keep the business going, or to, carry the legacy of what your parents had done?
My father's pretty casual about it. He said, "Do whatever you like," but I'm sure on the back of his mind, he hoped that I'd take over, which I didn't. He sold the restaurants in Auckland.
So your mum moves to Melbourne and opens her own shop or her own restaurant called Zenka that you've helped open. Tell us more about this, because this is probably one of the cutest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, so at our space 279, where we serve onigiri during the day, at night it turns into a 4-seater kamameshi restaurant just on the weekends.
And tell us more about kamameshi.
Kamameshi is it's basically rice cooked in a clay pot with protein and vegetables and broth.
And what's the significance of this dish to your mom and yourself?
So my mother wasn't a chef. She was a home cook, but it is one of the dishes that she really enjoyed my father making.
Oh, cute. And then Liam's mum's also a chef, and my mum's now a terrible cook. So we should do a degustation.
No, I truly resonate with that story so much. I think seeing my mum's the same thing. Like, she's a professional chef now, but it all started from making us food and taking the reins from my grandmother, who big family, and so to hear that you've been able to create a space. And I just want to jump back on that. You said there's 4 seats in it. Like, that's just allowing. I wish I could minimize my mum, the way she works. She's a yes person, and it gets bigger and bigger. The business gets bigger. Whereas if you allow and focus the space into that type of size, I'm sure that the service would just be exactly that, just with love first and presence and the quality of the product. the opposite of what we're talking about with the rice cooker, you know, keep it small and perfect, you know, like that's so beautiful. Yeah.
If anybody wants to get a booking, how or can we?
It's not sure. My sister runs it. My sister runs the booking system, but we release it every first of the month.
Yep.
And then
pretty much books out straight away. How quickly did the first round go?
8 minutes.
8 minutes. Wow.
8 minutes. How many seatings do you do?
So we do 4 seats twice a night, and then we do 2 nights a week. So
2 nights
very little. Yeah.
I love that. I love that for her.
Yes, it's very sustainable.
Yeah, exactly.
And enjoyable.
Yeah.
This is completely unrelated, but you're probably quite familiar with Che and what's happened there with the South Korean. She got 17 out of 20 for a rating. That's insane.
Crazy.
So the capacity of what you can do in those small settings is also being enjoyed and being respected as well. So anybody that's going along thinking it's just like a simple home cook situation, that's very reductive. You're in for a real treat. And what it sounds like is with Kantaro's UI and UX understanding as well, you're going to get an amazing experience. It's not just a, hey, come in, here's some rice, shut up. It's more like this is the whole story. Is there much of a role that service plays in that? Is there much of a storytelling aspect, or is it quite, imagine a room of 4 people or 5 people, it's quite intimate. Are you talking a lot?
It could be, but my mother's not very talkative.
Oh, perfect.
So it's very
book me in.
It's very quiet.
That sounds even better.
Nah, that just means I'll be able to talk to her.
Yeah, the theatre to that is even better in my opinion.
The food will talk for itself, you know?
Yeah. So after dinner, dessert, yeah? So tell us more about Kakigori.
Yes. Kakigori, yes. We have Sebastian Kakigori in the city. I run that with Hiro. He had a very successful Kakigori shop in Shibuya. Yeah,
nice. For people that aren't familiar with Kakigori, could you please inform them what it is and why are you so damn good at it?
Kakigori, yes. It's a very simple dessert. So clear rice shaved with syrup, layers of fruit syrup on top.
Yeah, and I can't imagine you'd be using just any ice.
We use Kuromoto ice that we import.
So Kuromoto ice, why is it so special and why can you only use that? And how did you end up importing it? That is just a long thread to pull on.
So this ice is made over 48 to maybe 3 days. It's slowly frozen and whilst impurities are removed with air, and that creates a very hard ice. And what hard ice means that it melts slow. So for Kakigori, the ice needs to be hard and slow melting in order for it to shave nicely to create this fluffy texture. And that goes for cocktails as well. You don't want your cocktail to dilute really quickly. These guys are special. They use water from Mount Haku in between Ishikawa and Gifu, and they've been doing it for 100 years.
Unbelievable. And I just love how organic everything you do is. It just makes sense. It's like, why is my mum cooking here? Well, because she can. Why am I getting ice from Japan? Because I need to.
Legacy.
Yeah. But it's all just naturally folded in.
100 years.
100 years. Yeah. And it's all.
Yeah. They launched when Yamazaki whiskey first came about.
Mate, what, like, as in that side of the business was almost like created for whiskey? Like you were saying, it like was cocktail based and like kind of.
Yes, not particularly for Yamazaki whiskey, but yes, that's when it happened. Yeah. And this was 1923, first founded.
Oh, created. Beautiful.
Stunning.
So we've got a bit of an understanding about you, what you're capable of, and what you've already done. You've got the runs on the board, you've got dessert covered, you've got breakfast, lunch, and dinner covered. You've got cocktails covered. You've also got a sake bar you work out on the weekends. Is that right?
Yep.
So you got the nightcap sorted. You know what's missing? A coffee festival. A coffee festival in a country that is distant to the country where most of the roasters are coming from. Tell us more about Coffee Weekend Melbourne and, let us know everything about it.
Yep. Coffee Weekend essentially is, this year particularly, is a filter-focused festival where we have about 3,000 tickets per day on a weekend. And we have invited international roasters, specifically Japan this year. We have 27 roasters from Japan, the Avengers of the coffee roaster community in Japan.
And some big names too, like any names that you want to drop right now?
So Weekend is Leaves Coffee Roasters, Coffee County.
Nice. Onibus. Yeah, you got some big names in there. So you're very lucky. I would even go out as far as to say you're probably never going to taste all these coffees when you're in Japan. So to be able to have it all in one spot in North Melbourne is so unbelievably unique. And am I right in thinking that you are carrying over some of that stamp rally methodology over for this as well?
Yes. So at the event, we'll call them tokens. If you buy a ticket, you'll get one of these tasting cups. Yep.
This is a tasting cup made from the lovely people at Loveramics, where it's got two sides to it, so you can enjoy two different types of lip action. And this will be a sensory experience for you. Also comes on a lanyard,
Yes.
so you can wear it around your neck the whole time. We've got one; they're great.
And so you get these cups and 9 tokens where you can exchange that for tasting size coffee.
Amazing. And these will be some serious coffees as well. We're not playing around here.
So we'll have at least 100 to choose.
What? Can you buy more tokens on the day?
You can, yes.
You can. And is there a prize for drinking all 100?
Well, we'll see.
That white line fever gets me every time. I did say that earlier. So what's your role?
We're the organizers. We are responsible to bring over these roasters and get everyone to have a good time.
Yeah, and how did you think this was possible? And why did you think this was possible? And obviously, we need this. We need more of this. We need lots more of this, and we love to be a part of it. But why? What was your why behind this?
Oh, well, first of all, like Melbourne already has great wine events and beer events, but not for coffee. You have MICE, great expo, but it's more B2B. But we wanted one for the general public.
Yeah, and I can see this growing quite well. Is there any plans to scale this up or to send it to a different state or anything like that if it goes well?
We already have people asking for us to be in Sydney and in Brisbane.
That's amazing. And then on top of being in Sydney and Brisbane, is there any idea of you possibly bringing other countries over to Australia?
Definitely, yes. We'd like to feature every coffee capital.
Unbelievable. And then you're no novice to this. You actually took over some of Australia's leading roasters to the Coffee Expo in Japan, in Tokyo. Is that right?
Yes, this was pre-COVID. We went to Tokyo Coffee Fest. Leonie, Patricia, Maker, and a few others.
He's done it all. He's done it all and he's doing more. It's mental.
When did you do that?
It was 2019.
2019, okay. Wow. How was that? And I guess like you were saying before, like the Australian kind of coffee experience is already pretty integrated through Japan. So like having everyone go over there, was that a similar thing? Like I think hearing that there's going to be like the Avengers of the Japanese coffee world coming here, that's going to be welcomed with open arms. How was the reception on that side?
It was very good. The Australian booths got the most sold tokens for that event. And because it was inspiring, after that, from the following year, they were planning to do the regional guest regions.
Amazing.
So good.
Culture, community. It's the coolest thing.
While we're still on the topic of the coffee weekend, could you please tell us when will it be happening, where will it be happening, and how will it be happening?
Yes, it's happening on the 5th and 6th of July on the weekend. And we have 3 sessions from 10 till 6. You can buy a ticket to enter between 10 and 12:30, 12:30 and 3, and 3 till 6. Entry at the moment is $45 online, and then on the day it will be much more.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, this is how it has to be.
Let's get our tickets right now.
Yeah, I'm excited. And you've still got some pre-sale tickets left, is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
So you better get in early.
Early bird ends April.
Okay, at the end of April. This podcast is definitely going out next week. So if you're on this, we'll make sure Liam links it all up and you can get in nice and early.
Put all the information in the description below. And
I've also got a sneaking suspicion that you're not done there. You've also decided to maybe bleed some of that festival out into the streets of Melbourne, and there'll be some of the Japanese roasters will be partnering up with some local roasters. Is that right?
Yes. So after the coffee weekend, we will call it the Coffee Week, and we'll have a calendar online where you can experience the same coffee but in a different format, whether it's a cupping or a workshop, panel discussion at your favorite local cafe.
Exceptional. That's going to be such a great week for Melbourne. I think also at the time of year when there's not much on and it's cold, coffee's exactly what you need. And that sort of an event is going to keep me going. That's for sure.
So just like having them here, you can't just have that one spot. Like, if anyone, I feel like in any kind of festival experience, it's quite overwhelming in the best way. You're like seeing everyone, everything. And so I almost feel like you go to the festival, you find your favorites, then you look on the calendar and you're like, wait, then I'll really go and like dive deeper with them.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a fantastic kind of combo.
I think it's in the best format where you can see the roaster working with local cafes.
Yeah. Seeing them integrate.
And that sort of knowledge share as well when you get those environments when you're working together and you're like, oh, you do it that way. Oh, you do it that way. There's a lot of things that when you write a recipe and you hand it over to someone, there's a lot of nuance missed. And it's like, no, I actually do it like this. I do it like that. Well, why didn't you write it?
Yeah. I would be so stressed if I was like,
one of the hosts.
Yeah. If I like had like, a cafe and there was someone coming through, I'm like, everyone start cleaning now. Like we need to whip this into shape, like, yeah. I'm sure that would be the most healthy thing.
Yeah, I'd be freaking out.
To leave with some good habits, Yeah.
So I know Coffee Weekend's taking up a lot of your time, and you got a lot of other things on. What's going on here? What's in this little poster here?
Oh, this is our Coffee Weekend poster.
Oh, let's have a look.
Yeah, come on, unveil it.
Come on.
We haven't seen this yet.
I still haven't seen it. Oh, the anticipation.
So this one's more text heavy.
Beautiful. Look at that. I love the koala making the pour over. That's so good.
A bit more minimal.
Ooh, that says design.
Yeah. Film little noise in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Fine.
Oh, nice. Very good. And who did all this? Was that obviously Sneak Peek, but who at Sneak Peek did it?
Natsumi from Sneak Peek.
Good job, Natsumi. We might have to give Natsumi a call after this. I think we need to up our comms after that. That is some good-looking stuff.
I just want everyone to be able to see it.
Oh, Liam, get it out there. So if you can't see it, Liam, can you describe it for us? So this one's black.
No, you describe it. I'm just going to hold it up so everyone can see it.
Oh, look at that one. Yeah, so it's a filter-specific event running from 10 till 6, 3 sessions, tasting festival. This will awaken your senses. And I imagine with your skill set and your offering, there's going to be some delicious, delicious food. Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
We'll be doing the food.
You'll be doing the food. And is there an after party or anything like that at the end of all of this?
Maybe
at your sake bar?
Maybe, yeah. So for the roasters, for the guests,
to.
yes, we'll go to a pub.
Yeah,
maybe, yeah.
Go to the local pub. There's one diagonally across the road. Yeah, it's a weird one, that pub.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit much. You're like, ooh.
Went to watch sports.
That's all you do there. Yeah. You watch sport. As soon as that game finishes, you leave. And this is a bit of an exclusive here, but Kantaro has kindly allowed us to piggyback on the back of this festival and be a media partner. And we're so grateful for it. So which means that we're going to have some amazing interviews coming up with some of Japan's best roasters. How lucky are you guys?
We've been spoiled. We, went through the Dubai kind of coffee expo over there, World of Coffee, and then we've run through MICE, and now it just keeps on getting better.
Yeah, I think
it keeps on getting better.
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to play favorites, but this one might be my favorite.
I am so excited.
Yeah, same.
Oh my gosh.
So before we wrap this thing up, we've got some quick fire questions just because they're fun. Don't you reckon, Liam? Quick fire questions are always good.
100%.
All right. So coffee or miso in the morning?
Coffee.
Nice. If Sneak Peek had a theme song, what would it be?
It'd be like a lo-fi city pop
Oh, nice.
Or folk Japanese rock.
Nice.
Folk Japanese rock. Nice.
All right, we might have to get one of Kantaro's playlists on. Everyone needs to experience city pop and folk Japanese music. This one's a bit more geographically based. Top 3 spots in Melbourne that you would take anybody?
So for coffee, I'll go to Patricia. And then I love my wine bars. I go to local spot, White Bark on Victoria Street. And then restaurants. Recently been going to Old Palm Liquor.
Yeah, nice. Old Palm. Delicious. Great. That's an amazing 3. And then let's put the shoe on the other foot because you're a skill and you're a culture sharing man. Where would you send people in Japan?
Well, if they can handle it, I'd take them to very local. But I'd take them to Sangen Jaya, close by to like Shimokitazawa. There's this spot called Sankakuchitai. It's a triangle area. Like all the shops are lined up in a triangle
formation. Yep.
Formation, and dozens, maybe 20 different local bars where they serve wine, sake, snacks, and all like 6 seats. So you just hop along.
Oh, that sounds amazing. How long can you last there?
Whole day.
Whole day.
Yeah.
All right.
Or like till the morning.
All right.
Yeah.
Put that in your itinerary then if you're going to go for it.
More like put that on your bucket list.
Oh,
that is,
Liam, well said.
My goodness.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Kantaro. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to visiting Coffee Weekend. I actually think that maybe Liam and I might have to do a crawl and go to every single one of your venues and come back to you and do them together though, because I've been to them separately, but let's go. We'll do them together and we'll come back to you and then we'll try and get a seating at your mother's cafe. We'll see if that can happen for us as well. But regardless, we look forward to working with you at the Coffee Weekend. Thank you so much for your time today. If anybody wants to find you, where do you spend most of your time? You're mainly in the design agency these days?
Yes, I'm at the pop-up space.
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
So you're not behind, you're never getting on the pans again. Is that what you're saying?
Not on the pans, but I pour sake at Leonie.
Every weekend?
Every weekend.
So if you want to find him and you're desperate to chat to him, not stalk him, go to Leonie, make sure you grab a bottle of sake, finish that first, then talk to him. And I'm sure you'll have a great conversation. Thank you so much again, mate. I really appreciate that.
Thank
and
you.
as always, thanks for tuning in. And as always, it's just coffee!
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Kantaro.